Hello and welcome to this on-demand presentation of SyncManufacturing software. SyncManufacturing is a synchronized planning, scheduling, and execution solution for demand-driven manufacturing. Our presenter today is Trey Jordan, a senior consultant for Synchrono manufacturing software.
Okay, as Pam said, I'm Trey Jordan, and I'm a senior consultant with Synchrono. I've been working in the manufacturing software industry since 1999, and I've been with Synchrono since 2004. What we're going to cover today is some background on our company, Synchrono, then spend some time talking about the demand-driven philosophy and approach to planning and scheduling, and then get into SyncManufacturing software demonstration. Synchrono was founded in 2000 by lean manufacturing and technology experts. Our focus has remained enabling corporate demand-driven manufacturing and supply chain initiatives through the building of software solutions that allow companies to accelerate and extend their capabilities. We focus on providing real-time information for greater synchronization and flow to help our customers become world-class manufacturers. Here's a sampling of clients with installations around the globe. The main thing I want to point out is the diversity of customers in both size and the products they make. Size ranges from smaller one-plant manufacturers to multi-billion-dollar global companies. Products range from envelopes, synthetic wine corks, and wire to golf cars, capital equipment, aerospace, and defense. They are all running on the same core technology, which is configured to their specific environment. Our customers partner with Synchrono to help them transform their operations and supply chain. Here's a list of some of the benefits of our solutions. Improve flow through synchronization of the entire organization and extended supply chain in real time. We give customers the ability to connect and share data from any source to make informed decisions. These can be existing business solutions within the customer site or one of Synchrono's solutions that we implement. We work to provide customers with a simple, single version of the truth for the enterprise. What we really want is for everyone within the enterprise and the extended supply chain to be on the same page and making decisions off the same information. We provide solutions that allow customers to quickly adapt to variability within their environment and to focus on preempting issues before they impact delivery or inflate costs. Part of our focus on visibility is allowing users to create dashboards to align specific functions with the overall objectives of the organization. And we do all of that through what we call the demand-driven manufacturing platform. Synchrono's demand-driven manufacturing platform is made up of 5 separate but tightly integrated solutions that can be implemented individually or in concert with one another for greatest value. Starting in the upper left, SyncManufacturing is the demand-driven planning, scheduling, execution software. I will cover that in more detail later in this presentation. Moving to the right is Sync Operations, which is a connectivity tool to connect to machines, environmental management systems, conveyor systems, RFID readers, ERP systems, and other information systems. It pulls data in real time and contextualizes it and historizes it to expose that data to our other applications to take advantage of it, but also to provide the data to process engineers so they can analyze the data for leading causes of downtime or scrap. Along with data analysis is an automated workflow system that allows you to set up automated workflows so when an event happens, you can be assured the same response or steps will be carried out every time that event occurs. We have a solution called Sync Alert. If an event occurs within a manufacturing organization and someone needs help in order to resolve an issue, Sync Alert can be used to communicate the issue to the organization. The primary use is on the shop floor. If there is a material issue or a resource or machine has an issue such as running poorly or has gone down, Sync Alert knows who is responsible and who's on shift and starts emailing and texting until they respond, or if they do not respond in a timely manner, it will begin escalating communications to the next level in the organization. Sync Kanban enables pull-based replenishment through electronic Kanban signals. The final solution is SyncView. This tool leverages information from the other Synchrono applications and other business systems within your organization. It gives you a real-time analytics tool to assess the health of your organization and drill into what is going on. This application is meant to be used on large screens on the shop floor down to handheld smart devices. As I said previously, we are going to focus on SyncManufacturing in this presentation. However, we offer more detailed presentations of our other solutions as well. We use the word demand-driven or pull-based manufacturing and supply chain execution a lot. It is important to note how Synchrono defines this. When we talk about demand-driven manufacturing, we are talking about two core concepts. One is synchronization and the other is flow. Synchronization means synchronizing replenishment orders, production scheduling, and manufacturing execution to the customer pull signal, which is either the customer order or customer consumption of material. We combine synchronization with flow, which is simultaneously coordinating the flow of materials and resources across the supply chain. Those are the two core concepts that drive everything we do at Synchrono. Our focus on synchronization and flow led to the creation of SyncManufacturing, our demand-driven and synchronized planning, scheduling, and execution solution. Before we move into the software demonstration, I'd like to spend a few minutes of explaining our synchronized scheduling approach and our unique scheduling algorithm, Conload. Really underlying SyncManufacturing is our unique dynamic scheduling approach made up of key tenets, one of which is creating pull within the environment. SyncManufacturing creates pull by optimizing work in process. It takes a look at pacemakers or constraints within the manufacturing environment and will gate WIP into the system at the rate the system can handle. As our name Synchrono implies, synchronization is very important to us. We are really the only solution in the market that synchronizes these four elements together: people, material, machines, and data throughout the manufacturing environment and the extended supply chain. We give you tools to monitor the system and enable continuous improvement. A big difference between SyncManufacturing and traditional software in the market today is that most systems in the market today work in a silo model or batch model. The engine for planning and scheduling runs typically one time a day or sometimes only once a week. The engine runs taking into account all variables in the environment and comes up with a plan and a schedule. Then that's thrown over the wall to production and purchasing for them to execute on it. Production and purchasing are in the dark until the engine runs again. The problem with that is that variability occurs in the meantime. The moment you publish the plan, variability occurs and the plan quickly becomes invalid. This drives people in manufacturing environments to create workarounds such as manual schedules and plans, hot lists, and Excel spreadsheets of what people should be working on, all because of the batch system and lack of real-time information. In contrast to the traditional silo model, we built an always-on, real-time planning, scheduling, and execution engine. All of those things we consider to be coupled together and tightly integrated with each other. Planning and scheduling always knows what's going on in execution and vice versa. And we also build what we call an adaptive planning and scheduling engine. This means as new demand orders are entered into the system and dates are changing on existing demand orders, the system is always realigning the schedule to meet these changes, as well as keeping an eye on what is going on in execution. We can really get to the point where SyncManufacturing is the schedule that everyone is working off of and get rid of all those spreadsheets, hot lists, and post-it notes. We now have a living, breathing schedule that is always in alignment with what is going on in the manufacturing environment. The way that SyncManufacturing creates pull and flow is through a patented scheduling algorithm that we call Conload. I'm going to use a simple example to illustrate the fundamentals of Conload. Conload uses the concept of constraints or pacemakers to understand the pace or capability of the organization. One of the things we want to do with constraints is to make sure they always have enough work to do. We are trying to define the amount of inventory or work in process that is needed to make sure the constraint or pacemaker is always running, but no more than that. We define WIP based on the standard unit of measure in a manufacturing organization. That unit of measure is time. Specifically, how many hours does it take to complete an operation? For every customer order we are looking to release into the process, what we are really looking at is how many hours the order takes on each of our constraint resources. And what we do is set up the total number of hours we have to release into the system to make sure that our constraint is always running, but no more than that. It does not mean all the work is sitting at the constraint, but it's somewhere between the release point and the constraint. In this example, the auto sander is our constraint. The auto sander is being fed by two upstream operations, the table saw and the lathe. Really, what Conload allows us to do is set an optimized WIP cap. This WIP cap will be based on the auto sander's capability. Again, we will release enough work into the system to make sure the auto sander is always working, but no more than that. In this example, the max load or Conload hours is set to 20. Once we have set the max load, then any work we need to release into the system, whether they are production orders or replenishment orders, are going to be gauged based on how long they take on our constraint, the auto sander. The blocks on the left represent orders to be produced. The number on the block represents the runtime or load of the order on the constraint. Conload will release work into the system. It's released 5 hours. Now it's released 12 hours. And see, we are still not at or above our max load. So it continues to release work into the system. Until we are at or above our max load of 20 hours. In this case, we are now at 25 hours released. Now the system says hold up and will not release more work into the system until the auto center completes at least 5 hours of work, and we are back down to 20 released hours. So as it works on this work, eventually we have consumed the 5 hours and now back down to 20 hours, and now it will release the next job into the system. So Conload is controlling the release of work into the system based on what the system can handle, which is defined by the constraints. The cool thing about that is since we have a real-time planning, schedule, and execution system, the system is looking at the constraints to see how fast they are running. If they're running faster than expected, it will release faster. If it's running slower than expected, it will release more slowly. But always keeping that optimal level of work in process. If you think about this, what we end up doing is, one, we end up having only what we need in the system to maximize throughput through the system. In addition, we cut down on some of the bad things that occur when you have too much WIP in the system, such as people working on the wrong things, people cherry picking work, people having to handle materials more than what is necessary. Also, since we keep a nice consistent level of work in process, we keep a nice consistent level of queues in the process. In most environments, queues are the largest determinant of cycle time, which means if we have a nice consistent queues, we get to the point of having nice consistent cycle times. And that allows us to have very predictable cycle times, and we're more predictable as an organization. The last thing I would say about this is by only having in the system what the system needs to be its most effective as far as throughput, we really ramp up the flow through the system and dramatically decrease cycle time and lead time. Because then when something gets released into the system, it now has a clear and consistent path to run through the system as quickly as possible. You can define more than one constraint in your system. If you do have more than one constraint, then each order is evaluated based on which constraints it goes through and the conload supporting those constraints, and will gate the work into the production area based on the most overloaded resource. Now we'll move into a demo of SyncManufacturing. One thing I want to highlight is that SyncManufacturing is a browser-based solution. Whether you go through our normal delivery method, which is through the cloud, or choose to have the app on-premise, the users will be interacting with SyncManufacturing through their favorite web browser. You will notice that there is a toolbar across the top to take you into different areas in the software. I'm going to step into what is called the demand order maintenance screen. I should point out that SyncManufacturing, as well as our other solutions, are best-of-breed solutions. They are made to augment and enhance the capabilities of your existing business systems. SyncManufacturing is typically integrated with an ERP system on the customer side. We do a real-time integration with that ERP system, pulling out any information relevant to creating a solid schedule. Demand order maintenance shows a list of open sales orders or forecast orders or quote orders. So one thing that the system does is as soon as a sales order or forecast order or quote order comes into the system, it is automatically planned and work orders are created and the structure exists automatically without any interaction from a planner or scheduler. This is what we call the production plan, which is a graphical representation of the BOM and routing. The rectangles represent operations for the production orders generated to produce this particular sales order here at the end. The ovals represent material coming from inventory, such as buy items and make-to-stock items. Within SyncManufacturing, we use color coding, red, yellow, and green, to create a sense of urgency. Green means we are okay or maybe working a little ahead. Yellow is really the area people should be working on operations. Red is when we are in an expedite mode. Also, as materials become available, the ovals turn white. Materials that are not white represent the status of those materials. As production completions are occurring on the shop floor, the operations turn white. One of the things we can use the production plan for is to view the multi-level or value stream of the order flow through the process. I can also understand the status of the order by drilling back and seeing where the order is hung up in the process. For example, if we go down this chain, we see that we're up to metal fab for this item, and we can drill even further back to see that we're all set metal fab for this item. Ideally, this order would be in the final assembly area here, and currently we have 4 out of 5 sub-assemblies ready to produce this product. The next screen we're going to look at is called the master schedule. The master schedule allows us, by constraint, to look at unreleased orders that need to get released into the production environment. We're going to take a look at the 193 paint constraint. It is going to be working off those principles of Conload that we discussed before. Conload for this resource is currently set at 15 hours. Max load hours is 15. These are the orders waiting to be released into the system. The first one is going to wait until we hit the 15-hour mark. It takes 12.31 hours, so the next order will be offset from the first one by approximately 12.31 hours, and it can be released into the system 12.31 hours later. In addition, the master schedule shows red, yellow, green. On the master schedule, red means that the order is going to get released into the process late and is expected to be delivered late. Yellow means it is being released a little bit late, but SyncManufacturing still believes it will get completed on time. Green means it is getting released on time and will meet the customer due date. In a SyncManufacturing environment, one of the things that changes a lot is that schedulers start to manage the exceptions, the red and yellow orders, rather than managing every order in the system. A big part of scheduling's job is to come to the master schedule and check to see if there are any yellow or red orders and try to clear those up before they release to the shop. If something is showing yellow or red, it would be due to one of 2 reasons. The first possibility is there's a constraining resource, in which case SyncManufacturing will show the most constraining resource here, where you see 193 paint in the constraint resource column. If there's a constraining resource that is blocking us from meeting the customer due date, it comes down to whatever options are available to scheduling to either reduce the load on that resource or increase the capacity on that resource. For example, you might reduce load by offloading to other resources in the shop, which you can do through right-click options here in the screen, or through outsourcing. You may be able to work overtime to increase capacity. The other thing that can occur is a material constraint. For example, on this particular order, there's no resource constraint, but the material constraint date and the release date are the same, indicating that this is being constrained by materials. You can right-click on the order and go to a report we call item shortage report, which will show you which material is holding up the release of this order. In this case, it's this item here, and it's not available until March 12th. So from here, the scheduler would want to talk to purchasing to see if the materials can be expedited to produce the order on time, or even better is that purchasing is already monitoring the item shortage report and addressing the material issues before the scheduler sees it as an issue. Once work is released to the shop, the resource priority list takes over. Within the resource priority list, an operator can type in their resource name and get a prioritized list of what production orders they need to complete to support flow through the manufacturing facility. In this case, I'm going to look at the 311 subassembly resource. This list is prioritized top-down by what we call the cycle consume percent. Cycle consume percent is the amount of time between when this operation needs to begin on this resource and when it needs to be completed compared to the number of working hours that are remaining before the order needs to be delivered. We find that a cycle consume percent really keeps people on the same page and is that synchronizing force to make sure everything is in alignment, whether it is a simple production flow or a large capital equipment manufacturer with hundreds of parts that have to come together at a final assembly point. Also on the resource priority list, we show red, yellow, and green color coding to show a sense of urgency. Red is where the operation is in expedite mode. Yellow is where they should be working on it. Green means they may be working ahead. One of the nice things with environments that are running SyncManufacturing is that they have deployed technology to the shop floor that enables everyone to always have a view into the current state of their priorities and what they need to work on. They also see that sense of urgency. So they can dramatically reduce the amount of time spent expediting because there is clear communication to everyone on the shop floor the moment that something is starting to fall behind and needs to be expedited. In addition, we show chevrons on the left-hand side. That's these little black arrows here. We call those chevrons. Chevrons indicate whether or not everything that is needed to execute this operation is available to the operator. This gives the operator confidence that the moment they pick up that order and begin working on it, that they have everything they need to complete the process. This can be as simple as all materials are available and all upstream operations are complete, to the more complex. For example, in some environments, we are integrated with the customer's PLM system, and we are not only checking that material is available, but that the proper tooling is available and the right rev of the machine program is ready and that the quality plan has been established. All things necessary to make sure that the operator can complete the process. In SyncManufacturing, there is also a full-scale materials planning engine that synchronizes the materials to the schedule that is established in SyncManufacturing. Our customers use this to make sure materials are in alignment and that materials are supporting the schedule that has been generated. We have customers that use SyncManufacturing to give real-time quotations of capable to promise dates to their customers. As customer service is taking orders, SyncManufacturing can do a real-time check of the bill of material and routing to make sure there's enough capacity materials to meet that customer request date. If the date the customer wants cannot be met, SyncManufacturing will tell you the earliest date that the order can reliably be promised to the customer. In SyncManufacturing, we have what we call a resource load report, in which the user can choose to display load versus capacity from an infinite capacity point of view or from a finite capacity point of view. This can be short-term, what's coming up in the next week or two, or longer-term, what's coming up in the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Some key things to note from the SyncManufacturing demonstration is that SyncManufacturing is focused on providing the single accurate source of information. We are taking in real-time data feeds from external systems so we can understand the status and variability within the environment. Then we are using our real-time planning, scheduling, execution system to determine how that impacts the environment and communicating that back out to the organization. The SyncManufacturing solution has a number of metrics and reports that can be used natively. For additional visualizations, we recommend our SyncView solution. Here are a few SyncView examples of production dashboards that give the user real-time visibility into what is going on in the manufacturing environment. In this first example, we are looking at resources within the production environment and current order status, how the orders are flowing through the system, where work is starting to queue up, and what is available to work on. This is a different view of how the resources are performing. Also, it gives us a unique view of the state of the machines. On the right-hand side, it is showing a bird's eye view of the manufacturing environment and the current status of the individual resources in that environment. Another example is taking a look at actuals to our expected throughput through the environment, as well as getting an understanding of how well the resource is working its way through its queue or work in process. Here's a view of the key capabilities that we covered in our demonstration today. SyncManufacturing is a dynamic and adaptive planning, scheduling, execution system. Within any environment that is running SyncManufacturing, the work is instantly prioritized and communicated throughout the enterprise. We're the only system on the market that does real-time synchronization of the 4 key elements in manufacturing: people, materials, machines, and data. In order to create pull and flow through the manufacturing environment, we use our patented Conload scheduling technology. We give you tools to understand your true capacity to be able to optimize flow and throughput through the environment. We give you real-time priority of the shop floor so that everyone within the production environment can go to SyncManufacturing and know that they will be on the same page with everyone else within the organization. SyncManufacturing allows you to manage your replenishment process and order flow in a highly visual way. And there are what-if capabilities to work through different planning strategies to help you decide what will be the most successful strategy for your organization. The reason why customers implement SyncManufacturing and continue using our solutions is to drive the key performance indicators that manufacturers care about. Here are some examples of what you can expect to see if you implement SyncManufacturing within your environment: increased throughput, improved on-time performance, inventory reduction, and cycle time reduction. Thank you for spending the time to go through this demonstration with me. If you have interest in learning more about SyncManufacturing or any other solution within the Demand-Driven Manufacturing platform, please feel free to visit our website. There's a wealth of information there. There are additional on-demand webinars. There's a blog to keep current on the topics that Synchrono is talking about. There are also white papers and case studies. Please give us a call or send us an email if you would like further information.